Welcome to the CISO Daily Update.
Hackers Group allegedly leaked threat actor list from Crowdstrike with 250 million IOC data. A hacker group known as US DoD claims to leak a database containing sensitive information about threat actors tracked by Crowdstrike. The alleged leak was posted on a data breach forum and includes details on various cybercriminal groups, their tactics, and operational details. US DoD also claims to possess CrowdStrike's entire indicators of compromise list, comprising over 250 million data points. The leaked information reportedly contains threat actors' identities, recent activity status, motivations, origins, and targeted industries. While the full extent of the leak is still being assessed, it potentially compromises ongoing investigations and exposes tracking methods. CrowdStrike has responded by suggesting that US DoD may be making false claims to boost its reputation, as it has done in the past. Bug and update checker blamed for CrowdStrike outages as Congress demands hearing. CrowdStrike plans to implement more rigorous local testing and staggered deployment strategies to prevent future issues. The incident affected about 8.5 million devices and drew criticism from the White House, leading the House Committee on Homeland Security to demand a hearing with CrowdStrike officials. The company revealed in a post-mortem that despite trusting their content validator, which had no prior issues, the update caused Windows OS crashes on millions of devices. Data breach exposes US spyware maker behind Windows, Mac, Android, and Chromebook malware. Minnesota-based spyware maker Spytech has been hacked, revealing thousands of devices worldwide under its surveillance. The breach exposed detailed activity logs from devices monitored by Spytech's real-time spy and spy agent software, affecting over 10,000 devices since 2013. The data was confirmed as authentic and showed significant clusters of compromised devices in the US and Europe. Despite the breach, Spytech's CEO did not confirm whether the company plans to notify customers or submit breach disclosures to authorities. Spytech spyware, often marketed for spousal surveillance, captures sensitive data without users' consent. Hackers outsmart SEGs with unbelievably sophisticated malware. Hackers are exploiting the limitations of secure email gateways by embedding malicious HTML files in zip archives disguised as MPEG video files. SEGs, including Cisco Ironport, often misclassify these deceptive archives as safe, allowing the embedded malware to bypass detection. The phishing emails use advanced techniques to mimic legitimate invoices, including a full email body and signature. Despite effective standalone detection, SEGs fail to identify malicious content within these zip archives. Meta nukes massive Instagram sextortion network of 63,000 accounts. Meta removed 63,000 Instagram accounts linked to sextortion scams in Nigeria, including a coordinated network of 2,500 accounts run by 20 individuals targeting adult men in the US. This crackdown also led to the deletion of 1,300 Facebook accounts, 200 Facebook pages, and 5,700 Facebook groups disseminating scam tactics. The group, known as Yahoo Boys, coerced victims into sharing explicit images under false pretenses, then threatened to release them unless a ransom was paid. Meta has implemented measures such as auto-blurring nudity in direct messages and stricter settings for teen users to prevent exploitation and to quickly identify and remove offending accounts. Critical ServiceNow RCE flaws actively exploited to steal credentials. Hackers are exploiting ServiceNow vulnerabilities using public exploits to breach organizations and steal credentials. Despite July 10, 2024 security updates, tens of thousands of systems remain at risk. ServiceNow, widely used across various sectors, had critical flaws CVE 2024-4879, CVE 2024-5178, and CVE 2024-5217, enabling remote code execution and database access. Following a detailed exploit write-up, threat actors quickly leveraged these flaws to dump user lists and credentials from vulnerable systems. Elevated chatter on underground forums signals high cybercrime interest. Users are urged to apply the available patches immediately. GitLab patched XSS vulnerability that lets attackers execute arbitrary code. GitLab released critical security updates for its community and enterprise editions, addressing multiple vulnerabilities. The most significant is a high-severity cross-site scripting flaw that could allow attackers to execute arbitrary code. Other patched issues include an information leak of project-level analytics settings, unauthorized access to job artifacts, and potential disclosure of exported group or project information. GitLab also fixed vulnerabilities related to repository imports and project group exports. The company strongly urges all users to upgrade immediately to versions 17.2.1, 17.1.3, or 17.0.5, depending on their current installation. Docker fixes critical auth bypass flaw again. Docker patched a critical security flaw, CVE 2024-4.11.10, in its engine software that could allow attackers to bypass authorization plugins and perform unauthorized actions, including privilege escalation. The vulnerability affects Docker Engine v19.03.x and later, as well as Docker Desktop up to v4.32.0. Exploitable remotely without user interaction, the flaw stems from a bypass using API requests with content length set to 0. Users are urged to upgrade Docker Engine to v23.0.14 or v27.1.0 or later, while Docker Desktop users must await the release of v4.33. Interestingly, this vulnerability was previously fixed in 2019, but reintroduced in later versions. Although the exploitation risk is considered low, users are advised to avoid using Auth plugins and to restrict Docker API access to trusted parties until patched. CISA warns of exploitable vulnerabilities in popular Bind9 DNS software. CISA issued a warning regarding multiple significant vulnerabilities in Bind9 DNS software, which might result in denial of service attacks. CVE 2024-4076, CVE 2024-1975, CVE 2024-1737, and CVE 2024-0760 all have a CVSS score of 7.5 and could result in assertion failures, excessive CPU load, slow-paced database processing, and unresponsive servers. Patches are available for Bind9 versions 9.18.28, 9.20.0, and 9.18.28 There has been no known exploitation of these vulnerabilities to date. This notice follows the previous revelation of a similar DOS vulnerability, Keytrap, CVE 2023-50387. Researchers claim anyone can access deleted private GitHub repository data. Truffle security researchers uncovered a GitHub design flaw termed cross-fork object reference, which enables access to deleted and private repository data indefinitely. This intentional feature of GitHub's architecture allows commit data from any fork to be accessed, even if the original repository is deleted so long as a single fork exists. Exploitable scenarios include accessing data from deleted forks, deleted repositories, and private repositories made public. This means sensitive information could remain accessible through commit hashes. GitHub acknowledges this design, prompting recommendations for key rotation and enhanced secret scanning. Ransomware and BEC make up 60% of cyber incidents. In Q2 2024, ransomware and business email compromise attacks constituted 60% of cyber incidents, as reported by Cisco Talos. The technology sector, targeted in 24% of cases, saw a 30% rise, likely due to its critical infrastructure connections. Compromised credentials were the primary initial access method used in 60% of attacks. Common vulnerabilities included misconfigured systems and lack of multi-factor authentication, both increasing by 46%. Ransomware incidents rose by 22%, with groups like Underground Team, Black Suit, and Black Basta exploiting valid credentials and lacking MFA. BEC attacks, although down from Q1, still represented 30% of incidents, often leveraging phishing and smishing techniques. Proper MFA implementation on critical systems could have mitigated 80% of ransomware cases. Most IT leaders say severity of cyber attacks has increased. A new report from AppsBroker CTS reveals that 90% of IT leaders have seen an increase in the risk and severity of cyber attacks over the past year, with 61% describing the attack surface as impossible to control. Top concerns include malware, ransomware, phishing attacks, and system misconfigurations. Despite increased cybersecurity investments, 55% feel less secure than a year ago, and 57% believe cybercriminals will continue to prevail. The report also highlights inconsistent application of security due to inadequate governance and controls, with 53% of organizations implementing some zero-trust measures but facing barriers like cost and legacy integrations.
Thanks for listening. Remember to subscribe to our newsletter at CISOheadlines.com. Until next time, stay curious.